Hello and welcome back to Cymru Rails. In today's video, we're diving into a new layout update. We're going to take a look at a small but what I think is significant update I've made to the back corner of the layout, specifically where the farmer's field is located. So join me as we explore the changes I've been working on. Now, if you followed my making of series, you'll know that I didn't really go into too much detail about this particular area of the layout. Essentially, this field is a pre-made ploughed field section that I purchased online. Can't remember the manufacturer, but I just was able to cut it with a pair of scissors to specifically fit this corner. When I was originally forming the hills and terrain here, I deliberately left one area empty, knowing that I was going to add something special to that, so at some point down the line. I had seen the amazing 3D printed buildings designed by Tom Marshall at Skelly, and his Skelly Windmill immediately caught my attention as it's a perfect fit for the field. So it's a fantastic ramshackled old mill with missing slats and a broken tail fan. It's really full of character, and that's why I really wanted to add it. Just from the images on the website alone, you could see how detailed the buildings were, and luckily Tom has provided the base measurements on the website, so I knew exactly how much room I needed to leave for it. I placed my order with a few other bits of bobs from Kelly, and after a short wait, it's all arrived. So without further ado, let's get into painting and constructing the building. First off, for those who might not know, the very windmill that the design is actually modelled on is from a classic Will Hay film, Oh Mr. Porter, which I'm sure you're familiar with if you're familiar with Tom. Even in its unassembled state, in all its pieces, I could immediately tell that it was a terrific model. It has incredible detail, and the print is just really sturdy, I felt like I could tap it, and it's not as fragile as some other 3D prints I've dealt with. Tom has truly done a wonderful job of constructing this from photographs and reference books. He also has a painting tutorial available on his channel, which was incredibly helpful, and I loosely followed his instructions with my own approach, with a few minor alterations. To begin, I primed the main structure in a matte black primer, then I glued the sails together and primed them, along with the very top of the windmill, in a white primer. For the sails themselves, I used a brown colour to sponge on some weathering, and once I'd done that, I picked out specific sections in white to give it the impression that they'd been replaced over time. I didn't film much of the painting stage, as I haven't quite figured out the best way to capture this side of things, but essentially I dry brushed the entire structure in a dark earth colour. I picked out the details like the doors and windows in white, and then the brickwork at the bottom I painted in a Vallejo rust colour. Once the main painting was done, I then applied a Citadel Nuln oil to the sails and the top of the windmill to give it a really nice weathered look. Finally, I installed the motor which was provided, and it was very easy to put together. The battery pack that powers it just sits neatly inside the building. As it turns, it's a lovely realistic looking speed, which I'm pleased with. So whenever I need to turn it on, I just need to lift up the section, and inside is the battery pack, and I just flick the switch and it's on. As I mentioned earlier, I had deliberately left an empty spot next to the farmer's field specifically for this windmill. I test fitted it in this area, and I was happy to find that it fit absolutely perfectly. I then used PVA glue to securely fix the building down in this spot and hide any small gaps between the base and the building, the base of the building and the ground. I had added some additional foliage, blending it seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. Next, I wanted to talk about some vehicles which I recently acquired that I wanted to add around this scene. However, they looked a bit too pristine for my layout, so I decided to try my hand at weathering them. First up was this Oxford diecast Land Rover, so I started by actually using some sandpaper to gently take away some of the factory gloss coat, giving the weathering paint something to adhere to. Once that was done, I applied a Vallejo rust wash over the entire model. I was careful not to let it pool too much, instead allowing it to run into the recessed details and around the wheels, creating a subtle grimy effect. I then used some speed paint pallid bone to go over the rear of the vehicle, as I might have scratched away a bit too much of the original paint that was there. After that, I sponged on some brown leather paint in certain areas to simulate mud splattering, which is only natural for a farm vehicle. Once this had been done, I coated the entire vehicle in Citadel non-oil to give it a final grimy and weathered look. The next vehicle that I wanted to include in the farmer's field was a Field Marshal tractor, also from Oxford Diecast. I wanted this one to look a little more worse for wear, sitting next to the Windmill. So with a bit more experience after attempting the Land Rover first, I gave it a go. Following similar stages to before, I sanded off the gloss coat, then applied the rust wash, and then a coat of Nuln Oil. Once both vehicles had dried and were done with the painting stage, I wanted to add one last element, and that is weathering powders. I still have the lovely set from DCC Concept, so I applied both the rich rust and old brown rust to the models to give them that final realistic touch. The rust weathering powders made it actually look like that it was a dry dirt almost in a way on the vehicles, and I especially like how it looked on the tractor tyres as well. I'm really happy with how both of these vehicles turned out. They look very much in keeping with this rustic section of the layout and match the quality of the Windmill. To finish off the area surrounding the Windmill, I also added in some apple trees which I had left over from Woodland Scenics that I had yet to use, and I placed these behind the Windmill, creating the impression that the owner had his own little orchard back there. I'll probably fill out this area in future with maybe a few more trees eventually to hide the end of the board a little better. And there we have it. The Windmill is now proudly on the layout, complete with newly weathered vehicles. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It truly adds so much to the railway, and that back corner, it just needed something, so I think the Windmill was absolutely perfect to add in there. Having the locomotives pass by this area now really enhances the overall atmosphere of the layout. The loco you can actually see passing is a Dapple Hawthorne Leslie that I picked up earlier in the year when I visited the West Somerset Railway. It's a lovely little engine and handles the inclines on my layout especially well. You might also notice that one of the wagons that it's pulling is a Northwestern Railway fish van, which I also picked up from Tom from Buggleskelly. I do wish now that I'd ordered a couple more to make up a full rake, but it's a lovely little wagon on its own, and having seen Reverend Audrey's original fish van in person, I can say that Tom has done a terrific job of recreating it. I hope you've enjoyed this little video going over recent updates I've made to the layout. I'm ever so happy with this addition, and it really feels complete now in this corner. I highly recommend checking out Tom Marshall's 3D printed models over at Buggleskelly Station if you're interested in adding any buildings or figures to your layout. They are well worth a look and extremely high quality from my own experience. Thanks so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another layout update. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing for more model railways and railway content in general. Hwyl fawr.